What game did you spend the most time with?
This year, I think actually, a little bit embarrassingly, it was probably SimCity. Yeah, well, I reviewed it, so obviously there's, you know, some. It took a long time to play. So like before it came out, when I was playing kind of pre-release builds, I probably put 100 hours in. And then after it came out, after the review was done, and I didn't need to keep playing it, I probably put another 100 hours in.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you were writing some articles for us about, you know, trying to figure out how the traffic works and where the bugs lied. And,
as they were
sussing that out.
As sort of the whole community, everyone on Reddit, on forums, were kind of analyzing the game and criticizing it and critiquing its systems. You know, I was also in there trying to figure them out because they are pretty complex systems, and that is really fun for me. Even as sort of broken as the systems were when it launched, and they've since done a lot of patches and like done these big dev blogs, which I read all of, about how all the things, how traffic worked, why it wasn't working, what they were doing to fix it. That was all really fascinating to me. So I spent like 100 hours sort of trying to exploit the systems, exploit the flaws in the systems, trying to build this perfect city that looked nothing like a real city because it was a city based on the systems of the game, not on actual urban planning.
Yeah, so like after 100 hours, really 200 hours, like how do you feel about SimCity now?
Well, I haven't gone back and given it much attention since all the patches. I know it has changed pretty significantly. I think that Under there is a good game. The launch was obviously atrocious, and there's no excuse for people spending that kind of money and not being able to play the game they bought.
But somewhere buried deep.
And the broken, I don't say broken, the systems that didn't work very well were very frustrating because you would get to a city of a certain size and it would just become untenable. The traffic problem was insane, but there's something really beautiful about the early game, about just being creative, experimenting, watching all your little Sims go about their lives and kind of like making pretty curved roads, and some of the industry stuff is pretty fun.
Yeah.
A little bit OP because you could kind of get to a point of efficiency where you're just making so much money it doesn't matter what you do.
I don't know if I can do that for hundreds of hours, though.
No.
I'm sorry that
No.
you had to. I'm sorry that you had to.
I feel like it's been inflicted upon you.
I mean, I played a bunch of Spelunky this year. It was just it was that game for me that I could pop in and out of. It's so digestible. I mean,
Right.
you sort of tell yourself you'll do one life, and inevitably you end up doing 2 or 3.
Because the first life goes so fast.
Yeah, it does. You know, you got to get a warm up in as you throw your body on spikes and die instantly. But I mean, I find myself increasingly concerned. I don't know if my time management has changed or something, or just how I'm spending my time has changed. But I'm really concerned with how quickly the game boots up lately, and how quickly I can get in there and get out. And Spelunky is that game for me. And obviously, it ends up being a really well designed roguelike as well, which is terrific.
Helps.
Yeah, my problem is I just boot into Spelunky and then like play a little bit and die and then quit the game.
Oh,
I think
get frustrated.
almost the fast-paced sort of quickness of how quick you can get in and out of it almost discourages me because I have an easy out. I can just rage quit.
It's kind of deceptively, like it seems simple on the surface of it, and like, oh, you can just quickly get into this and then play. But there's something about that more than any other roguelike, I think, too, that just grabs me and makes me like. I look at the cave that I'm in, or like the mines that are randomly generated for me, and I think, well, okay, I screwed up last time, but this time there's no way I'm going to fall into that pit. And then this time, like a poisonous snake eats me, right?
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's fun how you can sort of develop a mastery over different segments of the game, right? Like you develop strategies specifically for those snake pits.
Right.
I'm going to throw bombs down and just, you know, climb down and mop it up basically, and gather the gems after that, or. I know how to deal with a shopkeeper, or this is the point that I, take the shopkeeper and get his shotgun.
Every time you learn those, you can adjust.
Yeah, you guys are so methodical. I just jump around and die.
I'm having a hard time actually thinking of what game I spent the most time with, because it seemed like all of my game playthroughs were really on like a 20 to 30 hour basis throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I spent 25 hours, maybe a little more than that, on BioShock Infinite, including when Clash of the Clouds came out. I spent like 20 hours in Tomb Raider, finished the game, ran around, picking up stuff and exploring.
So you're not very monogamous.
No. I mean, more than any other year, like I feel like I've evenly distributed my time amongst games, and
Well,
most of the time I get obsessed with something and I want to play it for forever.
Those are story-driven, sort of linear games that have a certain amount of things that a certain amount of investment you can put in, 25
Right.
hours, be it, whereas like SimCity and Spelunky, anything sort of procedural and changing is something that you can kind of keep playing. You played a lot of Hearthstone though too.
I've played, yeah. Again, I'm going to estimate it at probably like 30 hours so
Right,
far.
but that's a game
That
you-
one's going to hold me for a while.
Yeah, you'll keep playing it next year.
Batman Arkham Origins, kind of the same thing. I also gravitated towards games where like I could finish the main story and then go around and clean up stuff. Like, here are some more artifacts to find in Tomb Raider, or here are more Riddler trophies to get in Origins. And that seemed to be like a constant thing. I can't pick any one specific game on a time basis that grabbed my attention more than anything else.
I spent about a day, 24 hours, with Cookie Clicker open on my browser.
I
Yeah.
watched you do that. It was terrifying.
Billions of cookies, Cory. I don't think you understand.
I do understand. I don't understand why.
Because I needed more cookies, is what happened. And
There's your game of the year.
I had to optimize my grandma production line. So,
That's very cruel.
look, I'm into kind of deep game mechanics, unlike you guys to some extent. So,
Yeah, you're really into systems.
Automated accumulation.
Systems and cookies.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.